If you don't find your identity in the source that you were created in, right?
Yes.
Then you'll definitely come to all the wrong conclusions.
If you want to be free, then today's your opportunity to go up a level with me.
Come on, y'all.
My kings and queens.
PLOW, you got to plow just to work for the revenue.
Everybody, welcome back. It's your boy Joshua Miles with Upper Level, bringing you what? Level Up. Are y'all ready to get leveled up today? I got a great special guest with me today, and I'm gonna tell y'all something right now. We want to continue to just keep taking this thing higher, and we want to keep provoking you, because guess why? God has something so great for you that you can't even imagine or think. Everybody, welcome my boy Ernie Pena.
Yes,
What's
sir.
going on, E?
How's it going?
Man, it's great, man. It's great to have you here, man. And I'm just so excited what God is doing.
Yes, sir.
Today, y'all, is, somebody say today, y'all know we say today. It is, what conclusions have you come to about you, of who you are? E, you know what, man? We met about 12, 13 years ago, and you really have showed me another side of the kingdom that's been awesome, man. And I really thank God for you. I want to just honor you, just to say thank you for the deposit that you have placed in my life of the kingdom, man. So I just want to say truly thank you, man.
Yes, sir.
Man, so what conclusions have you come to about yourself? The word conclusion is, man, it's so deep, E. You know what I mean? It's because that's how we make a lot of our decisions. That's how we really sometimes even think that things can be real out of a conclusion, out of what we have processed in our minds.
Correct.
Talk to us about it, B.
So I think when you look at conclusions, one of the ways that you identify people that are looking for conclusions is they're looking for conclusions in a sense of, man, I don't know my purpose. What am I here for? What do I do? And sometimes those type of self-perspectives, when they don't come to the right conclusion, it'll even lead to self-termination because people struggle so much about identity.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. That's
so when you conclude wrong, and there's so many things in the way of life from the day you're born to the current age that you are now, that if you believe other people's philosophies, if you believe, the Bible talks about vain imaginations, theologies, philosophies, doctrines of demons, all these things. And what happens is that we think that the only thing that we have available to us is the information that others provide.
Wow.
And that's far from the truth. Because if you don't find your identity in the source that you were created in, right?
Yes.
Then you'll definitely come to all the wrong conclusions. And you can be on a path, you could be set in a path, you can be in the right business, you can be exercising the right things, but still feel empty because you're not operating out of purpose, you're not operating out of existence, you're operating out of what everybody else is concluding about you. And until you come to the point to where what you and God conclude is more important than what everybody else concludes, then the only thing that becomes real is what matters to you and God, and everybody else is the benefit of it. Right? So everybody else is supposed to benefit from you. You're going to benefit from their identity, but there's only two things, and this is something that I've picked up in the last several years. I'm 52 years old.
Yeah.
And I spent about 20 years in the church, which I call my classroom. That classroom time, from the day I got saved, got serious with God, started I was going to children's Bible studies. I'd sit in the back room.
And real quick, Ernie, that's one question I have to ask you. We ask all our guests, how did you come to know the Lord?
Well, I look back, I don't think there was just one instance.
Yeah.
There's been several instances. When I was 8 years old, I got introduced to a Baptist fellowship with a family member, and the young lady that was my cousin, after the missionary meeting that was introducing missions, we were at the house. I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
And she says, "Have you ever said the sinner's prayer?" And I said, well, I don't know what that. I was 8 years old, and I grew up Catholic.
Yeah.
But I just knew enough about God, or I was curious about God, that all of God was at that time in my life was not being presented in what I was traditionally brought up in. I knew there had to be more, but I couldn't pinpoint it.
Yeah.
So then, there's a journey. I had that encounter with that. When she walked out of the room, I said the sinner's prayer, and I remember tangibly feeling a response. Like I didn't know what it was. I remember crying at 8 years old.
Yeah.
After I said that prayer, and then got older, started venturing out. My uncle, Pastor Bobby Pena, became a pastor. I visited that place. I liked it. And then when I got married, and my wife and I were attending there, and I was there for church, my religious obligation. And then all of a sudden, I think shortly after we had our first son, things just clicked differently. And then I started attending church. I started becoming a leader, being involved, serving, doing all the things, and then it was just progression from there. But I can't say it was like just one single instance that it happened. I think God worked on me progressively throughout the years, and then I say, for me, my philosophies, my personal philosophies, and this is something, I hope people don't take this wrong, but today I consider myself a heretic of what I'm going to know in 5 years. Because in your relationship with God, you're always building.
Yes.
So he loves us enough to allow us to build where we're at, believe what we believe, even though it's a little off. Because, there are things in our life that God doesn't say amen to, but he'll allow us to believe it for a little while to take us to the next level.
Come on. Proverbs 23:7. So a man thinketh in his heart.
Correct.
So is he. And I want to talk about that a little bit, E, because the conclusions that we continue to see even about ourselves, it's a renewing of the mind every day, man.
Every day. Yeah, it's life. It's a matter of life and death for some people. It's a matter of joy and misery for others.
Yes.
It's a matter of, am I just existing, or do I have a real purpose? Like, all these questions are always being answered in the human. I don't care what side of the world you're on. I don't care what ethnic background you're from. That's a question that every human being is instilled inside, because God set aside that question for only him to answer.
And what are the 4 questions that we have to answer?
So the 4 questions, the four most important questions that every human being will need to answer, that I call the 4 pillars, right? Something that we've termed the 4 pillars.
Yes.
And the first one is, who is God?
Yep.
The second one is, who am I?
Who am I? Yeah.
The third one is, what have I been given? And the fourth one is, what do I do with what I've been given?
Hold right there. Please, are you listening to what he's saying on those 4 things? Because if you actually come to the right conclusion from there, then life will open up a little bit more. Go ahead, E.
Okay. So the most important thing you got to know about those 4 pillars is this. You have to answer them in order.
Yes.
You cannot answer those questions. You can attempt to answer those out of order, but you won't come to the right conclusion. You will not come to the right conclusion until you answer the first one correctly, which is, who is God?
Who is God? Yes.
Yes. Because whatever you conclude about him, because you were created in his image and his likeness,
yes,
you will ultimately conclude about yourself.
Yes.
Because when we look at God, when we read our word, we're looking in a mirror.
Come on.
Right? So the one thing that I've learned over the last several years, and this has been life-altering for me, is that we have to decide value.
Yes.
Right? If you don't discover value, whatever you value, you're going to persevere. You're going to think that that's the ultimate thing, right?
Yep.
So as a human, right, in God's eyes, the most valuable thing is his image.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That is the most valuable thing.
Yes.
So yet he chose us to put his image on. Right?
Yes.
So when you see a country that has their own currency, everything is created in their image. Right? Even when Jesus had the encounter about the taxes, like, do we pay taxes? And he says, whose image is on there? right? He says, give to Caesar
Caesar
what
what is
Caesar's,
Caesar's.
give to God's what is why. Why? Because what he didn't say was more important than what he did say.
Yeah.
What he didn't say was when he said, whose image on there? So what was he saying? He was saying, whose image is on you. Right? So,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah,
So you got to catch those things.
Yes, yes.
So the important...
Paying attention to detail. Yeah, remember that.
Absolutely. So the important thing about understanding the image is, like when you go through I love what I'm about to tell you. I mean, it just gets me fired up.
Yes.
When you talk about the commandments.
Yes.
One of the commandments is that you shall have no graven images. You shall have no idols. Right? And you think about, he says he's a jealous God. And I'm thinking to myself, the more that I've gone to know God, it's like, man, this guy ain't insecure.
Yeah.
He ain't got no insecurities.
No, not at all.
So when we think of somebody that's jealous, we think, well, man, that person's got some insecurities or whatever it is. Well, God don't have insecurities.
He doesn't.
Right? Yep. So why would he say that he's jealous?
Yeah.
He's jealous for you.
For you.
Right?
Because he's pursuing us.
Well, here's the thing.
Yes.
And this is life altering if you'll catch it, right?
Yeah.
Well, don't have no idols, don't worship any other idols, don't have any gods before me. Why? Well, because when you do that, that's another image. The problem is God created his image to experience the benefits of the life that he provided.
You got to slow down.
Yeah.
Man. Are y'all catching that right there?
Yeah.
Because that's the conclusion that you got to definitely
That's right.
come to right there, man.
That's right. Because here's the thing. He said, you shall have no idols, no other gods before me.
Yes.
And it's not because he's jealous in an unhealthy jealousy. He's jealous for you because he has benefits in this life that he created for you that those idols can't give you.
Man.
You see what I'm saying? So in other words, so what he's saying is, you're shorting yourself from what I provided by going after some dumb idol that can't give you what I can give you. Wow. And I created you for to have life and life in abundance, and that idol, that God, can't give you because he didn't create you.
Will you stop today,
Right?
please? Stop.
Yeah, so you got to catch it.
Man, that's so good because I like what you just said. Those idols are not even going to do a thing for
Nothing.
us, man. But
Nothing.
yet we give our time and our energy and our money to these things that are not going to even give us nothing back in return, man.
Because they're not the source.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
See, Jesus didn't call God was never called God until Jesus came. Jesus comes and calls him Father, and they mad and ripping their shirts off and, blasphemy, right?
Yeah.
But the word Father is a Latin word called pater,
Yes, sir.
right? And pater is father.
Yes.
Which then the word pater, one of the meanings is the source.
That's right. That's right.
So why do I give thanks?
Because
He's my source. Right?
Yes.
So when you identify that he's a good God, that he's for me, that nothing formed against me shall prosper, all these things about who he is, if I'm created in his image and his likeness, well, then what does that make me? Right?
Yes.
So all the benefits that he has set up for me, so here's the thing.
Talk to
And
us.
I'm going to debunk this real quick.
Come on.
Right? A lot of people say, oh, I'm going through a mess and I'm just going through all these problems and the devil's after me and the devil this and the devil that and the enemy's. No, I would venture to say that the devil ain't got nothing to do with what you're going through. You've come to the wrong conclusions.
Wow.
Because think about it. My people perish for lack of,
Knowledge.
not
Hosea
because of the
4:6.
devil.
Right. He doesn't
So
even
if
give
I'm
you
having
credit.
financial problems,
Yeah.
and this is something that changed for me in 1996, 97, 98, just before we met.
Yeah.
We met around 2009 is when
Yes,
it was. And
yes.
so I don't believe in financial breakthrough. Because I can have a financial breakthrough, all of a sudden come into a bunch of money,
Yeah.
but if I still have a wrong conclusion about finances, that pile's only going to last a little while.
So what you're saying is, if you don't mind me to I like where you're going, Proverbs 8 and 18, that it is of God that gives us the power and the ability
To create
to create
wealth,
wealth.
not get a lotto ticket.
Yeah.
Okay? Right? Because so here's the thing. The earth is the Lord's
In the what?
and the fullness thereof.
Yes.
So everything that we see here, everything, it all belongs to him. He's the landlord.
You go into it, man. I'm just let loose. Go into it, man, with the trees, with the minerals of the earth.
Yeah,
the soil.
everything
Come on,
belongs to him. You'll never own anything.
So what you're saying is money comes from what? Trees.
Yeah. Well, money is just a currency that we've created to function.
But what I'm saying is of dealing with the things that are in the earth,
Correct.
where it comes from.
Yeah, the resources, all resources God has provided. I mean, notice this. He didn't create Adam and Eve and then create the garden.
Correct.
He put the garden full of abundance and life, and then he put Adam in there and said, manage it. He didn't say it's yours.
He said what?
Manage it.
Isn't that so good? Right? Watch this. You're going to work, right? And I think you're gonna. So the word, Ernie, image also means to become.
Correct.
So he's saying, become what I've called you.
Also, you can take it deeper.
Come on.
If he has created you in his image, you can't become his image. You already are.
Wow. So we're trying to recycle something that don't even exist.
Exactly. So in other words, when Adam and Eve were approached by the serpent in the garden, right? They were approached with a lie that the enemy used the truth against them because they already were.
Come on.
So he challenged it on something that was the truth, but he lied to them. So in other words, when he said, right?
Yep.
So God says,
Did God really say?
did God?
What he did was, he reversed it to make it a different conclusion of what God had.
So what he tried to convince them was that God's holding back from you.
Exactly, which was the wrong conclusion.
Yeah, because he held back nothing.
Nothing.
Everything God was, Adam represented and was on the earth.
Man.
So
Yes.
if he would have just agreed wholeheartedly and said, I lack nothing.
I already have it all.
Yeah. I'm just managing it.
I'm just man.
That's it.
And you know what, I think that's where we really go wrong a lot of times, because we think we own it.
You're never going to own
We've
it.
come to the wrong conclusion, feeling that we have worked so hard to get this and get that. But if it's his, why am I holding on
So
to something?
I challenge you with this. Go pay for your house. Go pay the balance on your house right now.
Yeah.
And then don't pay taxes on it and see what happens.
It's going to get taken.
It's not yours.
It's not mine. It's that's Ernie, the shift of the kingdom of coming to the right conclusion, knowing that, you know what, I own nothing.
I want to give you an example. I was in Kansas a couple of years ago. A couple of years ago I was in Kansas and I was at a warehouse, waiting to get my truck unloaded.
Yeah.
So I was on the phone with the business call. They told me to hang out. It'd be a couple of hours or whatever, and I'm standing around. Well, in the front of their building, there was a little bit of trash on the ground.
Yeah.
So I'm on the phone, and I just go pick it up. And I put it in the trash can, all 4 pieces of trash, I put it in the trash can. Well, the owner happened to be watching. The owner of the property happened to be watching. And I got off the phone. He says, hey, young man, he says, can I ask you a question? I said, yes, sir. He says, I said, yes, sir. He says, why did you pick up that trash? And I said, because, this is my daddy's property. And he says, well, I'm the owner, and you're not my son. I said, no, you're not the owner. You're the manager. My daddy, that's his property.
Yes.
I said, so if I see something with his property, then I want to fix it, and then I'll get the benefits of it, right?
Yes.
So he says, what are you waiting for? And I said, I'm waiting for a couple of hours to get unloaded. He says, no, sir. He walked into the building. He told all his management, he says, I need everybody out that door, get this young man unloaded right now. He says, he picked up trash in the yard when I pay people around here to pick up trash and they won't pick it up.
Wow.
Right? So, because I managed it,
Yes.
God said, get out of there. He moved things on my behalf.
And that's Ernie, what I love what the kingdom does, man. When we come to serve, man.
Correct.
Gosh, it says that the earth is waiting and travailing for the what? Sons,
For the revealing of the sons of God.
The revealing.
Because the earth is lost without us managing it correctly. It has no rightful dominator.
Yes.
Right? It has no rightful dominator. The earth can't respond to anything else but the image. And we're the only things that represent the image on the earth.
Yes.
So it can't respond to anything else.
Wow.
So it goes in reverse. And it waits. It says it's travailing.
Man.
When do I get rescued? Right? That's what it's saying.
Yes.
Because the sons of God have not taken their rightful place. Now, when you come to discover who you are, you start answering, who is God? Who am I? What have I been given? What do I do with it? Well, then you know you're in. See, and that's what I was going to tell you earlier. You know, I've learned lately, I only walk into a room for 2 reasons.
Talk to me.
2 reasons alone.
Yes.
I'm either in there to get something or I'm either in there to give something. And that's it.
Wow. Because you only do
Yeah.
what you see the Father.
Yeah. In other words, there's only 2 reasons for me to show up to be in a room full of other people. They're either there to deposit something in my life,
You're there to
or I'm there to
deposit
deposit something in theirs.
because you're blessed to be.
And what is the outcome? The outcome should be with every human encounter, whether it's 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years. Every human encounter should result in one thing: a better quality of life.
That's why I call Mr. Ernie a kingdom professional provoker. This is what we're called to do. We're called to provoke in every level of people's lives, man. You know what I mean? And that's why, Ernie, I feel like part of my purpose of why I'm able to answer the number 2 question is because I know I'm called, man, to shake up this generation of the youth, man.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And I'm so excited and I'm passionate about it.
Correct.
Because again, I'm not trying to worry about if I get a dime over here, get a dime over there. No, he has given me the ability. Come on, man.
Well, the problem is that we've presented a God that will accept you on the basis of good behavior, right? And we've presented a God that will accept you on the basis of sacrifice and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But the real reality is that He accepts you on the basis of the fact of the value that He designed, which is your image. So here's the thing, and this may scare some of you. I hope it doesn't. I hope you hear it with the right heart. But there's nothing that you can do behavior-wise to get accepted by God, because He already accepts you.
Yes.
Before the foundations, while you were in your mother's womb,
on,
right? There's so many.
Yes.
Yeah. So if He accepted you before you were born, what are you going to do alive to get Him to accept you more? You can't. But here's the other thing.
Yeah.
More important.
Yes.
There's nothing you can do to get Him to unaccept you. Nothing.
Yeah.
There is nothing you can do to get Him to unaccept you.
So basically, if I can even break that down a little bit, I love what you're saying, break that down even more simpler, too, is the fact that when we have kids, there's nothing that they can do that's going to make me feel like, oh, you know what, no, I don't want you no more. No,
yeah, you ain't my son.
You're not my son, you're my daughter.
Yeah.
You're mine. It doesn't matter. You can't do something or try to make something up. You're mine. I know you're mine. The connection is there. What you're saying is we have the connection with Him already. How are you going to disconnect that?
Can't. It's impossible. And somebody may be listening right now and say, well, yeah, what about those devil worshipers? And what about, again, they're coming to wrong conclusions and they're misbehaving. And they think, oh, those people, it's us and them. No, we're one human race with one image.
With one image.
And the only thing is they put themselves in a different perspective, in a different conclusion themselves. God does not accept them on the basis or He does not accept them or disconnect from them on the basis of their conclusion. Because He's not prejudiced.
Yes.
God's love is not prejudiced.
It's not.
Right?
It's not.
He says He sent His Son for the world.
No, it didn't, Ernie. It said that He sent his son for the Christians, man. No, okay, Ernie. Let's okay, Ernie. For the world, man.
That's right, for the world.
For the world.
Yeah, and we have our prejudices. That's why I tell people, and I said this a couple of weeks ago, I said, be careful when you ask, God, let me love like you. Wow. Because just think about that.
Yeah.
If I really was gonna love like God, do you imagine? Can you imagine how many unlovable people I would have to love for the unlovable things that they do? Because God loves them.
He loves them.
Yep,
He loves them.
that's right. And we can't. We don't have that capacity.
No, man. No.
So you'd have to give up. You would have to literally crash like a computer.
Yes.
That thing would just crash, and the God virus would come in, and you would have to rebuild that whole mindset from head to toe to reignite just an imp of loving like God.
Wow, man. And E, I'm gonna tell you something right now. That's why we need the kingdom, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's you know, we're so distant from that because we're tied into our denominations, we're tied into traditions, we're tied into you know, and a lot of that is built on marketing according to people's expectations and not really pulling people towards God. We're more concerned about church growth than about God growth.
You better start be cool, E. No, that's exactly what it is. Because again, what conclusions are we coming
Correct.
to?
Yeah.
We can't, watch this, Ernie, we can't keep doing church the same way we've been doing church the last 20, 30 years, man. I really believe those days are kind of gone. And I feel like our generation right now is crying out more of like, hey, man, I'm tired of all that.
Correct.
I want to feel something more real. I need to see it like, how do I live this
Correct.
on a daily basis?
Well,
How
that's
do
why I
you
said
know?
too. You know, I served as a leader for 20 years in a church, but I look back now, and I'm not anti-church, but the way I look at it is that was classroom time. Now it's time to take everything that was invested in me, both good, bad, healthy, not so healthy, decipher it, ball it up into the 4 pillars, and now come out where people really need it.
Yes.
Because the people in the church are safe,
Right.
right?
Comfortable.
They're safe.
Yeah.
Right? So I got 99 sheep over here that are safe.
Yeah.
But the
There's
one,
that one. I got to get up
and
there.
I can't, I'm not going to reach the one staying in the classroom. Right?
Yeah.
So I got to get out of the classroom, I got to graduate and go get the one.
Yes.
Because the 99 are safe.
That's good.
Right?
That's good.
So some of us, like me, I've come out to the business world. I'm all over the country. I mentor people, you know, from Peru, El Salvador, Guatemala, you know, in business, and I use business covertly introducing them to the kingdom.
Yeah.
Now, what's crazy is, I mean, of course, my name and all that, but they, you know, a lot of those guys from other countries call me dad.
Wow.
Because I've been the source for them to elevate their business game, and then they land in my arms in tears, telling me I've changed their life, and I've never toted a Bible in front of them. I've never done nothing but introduce them to the source
Come on, man.
and tell them why they have the ability to succeed,
Yes.
right? Their third world country status, everything, you know, their immigration status, none of that matters because the kingdom puts everybody on the same citizenship level.
E, man, that's good, man. It came to me about the woman at the well.
Oh my God!
Come on, man. When you was talking about that one, and I know, man. I'm hoping that we're talking to one today, man. That came out and is watching this video, right? Or I'm sorry, this podcast. To really know that you stepped out today to get to really see and get the right conclusion and image. Because what it was, the woman at the well, she had been carrying the wrong image, the wrong conclusions for years, Ernie.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, those stories have become so deep to me in the last 20 years, you know, 15, 20 years. I mean, even the prodigal son and the woman at the well. And here's what we have to understand, and this is what gets me a lot of times. You know, I love my brothers, my pastors and leaders. You know, all those that are doing the thing. I respect them. I honor them. No love lost at all. But I hear a lot of them that are just so sin focused. right? It's like, oh, you're in this, and you're a drug addict, and you're this, and da da da, and they're speaking, and here's what it is they're preaching to the results of wrong conclusions. They're not preaching to the source of wrong conclusions, right?
Yeah.
So they think if we get them off drugs, then we can get them to do the right thing. The problem is the right thing to do is to get them to the source.
Yes.
Right? And so you get them to the source, and then all that bad fruit comes off. It just falls off because now it's intertwined into the branches, the tree of life. You start accepting the spirit of adoption, right? So, when Jesus encounters the woman at the well, the story, the heat of the day, where nobody was around. She had to go by herself because all the shame, the guilt, the unworthiness, everything. Jesus comes, speaks to her. She's shocked that she's being spoken to by a man. All these other things. Then he tells her, you got to look at the conversation, and years and years of wrong conclusion, years and years of shame and guilt and unworthiness and all this stuff in a matter of a conversation. Not only did it get her to think a little bit different, but it was such a powerful encounter that she dropped everything she believed about herself and ran to Decapolis to preach into 10 cities.
Ernie, hold on. You going fast, Ernie? Hold on. Let's back up on something like this. So what you're telling me, Ernie, is not about race or culture, sir.
No.
They were in two different cultures and two different races, but yet...
And economic statuses, social statuses,
Come on.
Everything. But the kingdom brings everybody to just one citizenship.
To one citizenship.
That's it, just one.
So let me tell y'all what it is. Instead of us, continuing to judge, learn. We just said it, Ernie. Hosea 4:6. My people perish because of lack of what?
Knowledge.
So now I'm going to keep presenting ignorance because I don't know what knowledge really is, man.
Yeah, correct. So when you come to those conclusions about, like I said, I'm 52 years old. I don't think there's a human being that exists from the age of 5 to the age of 100 that can't teach me something.
There you go.
Right?
Yes.
I can learn something new from every human being every single day if my eyes are open and I'm willing to participate with that human being.
Can I tell you why, Miss Ernie? Can I at least just tell you why? Matthew 18. Unless you become like what? Little children.
Yep.
You cannot enter into the kingdom, man.
Absolutely. And so, and entering to the kingdom is not about going to heaven. It's about participating with heaven right then and there. Right? That's where people people think, oh, the five, what is it? The five deeds of the flesh.
Yes.
It gives you the list, and then it says, if any of you that are guilty of any of these, shall not participate or shall not enter the kingdom of heaven. But it's not talking about going to heaven. It's talking about, because see, how do we know that? Because Jesus, when he prayed, "Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come on the earth as it is in heaven." So why would he present the kingdom for now and then use everything else for later?
Come on, man.
You can't do it. Jesus wasn't bipolar. Right? So he introduces a kingdom you can participate with now.
Yes.
So he wasn't saying, well, I'm going to come and pray for it now, but you only get to experience it later. No, you participate with it now.
Man, that's so good.
Yeah. But again, that all comes with coming to the right conclusions of the 4 pillars.
I hope and pray that you have gotten something today from Mr. Ernie Pena. And you know what? Again, I'm just hoping that these episodes are here to serve you, to take you up higher. So remember, be the change because you are the change for such a time as this. Until next time, you know what to do. Level up. Up a level. Let's do it. If you want your mind to be free, level up, y'all. But see the kingdom with me. Where's it at? It's inside of you. It's inside of me. That's right. So let go and let God be free.